Welcome to Project Sambad. Project Sambad is a collaborative platform that promotes in-depth conversations that critically examine Nepali society and its policy-making space. Through Project Sambad, PEI and other like-minded organizations seek to explore broad, impactful questions that contribute to a wider dialogue on the politics and development of Nepal and the South Asia region. In just 2 days, we had 6 immersive and interactive panels on relevant contemporary topics from development, migration, to business. Sambad comes to life when it reaches a wider audience, and that's why we're sharing live recordings of the conversations. In today's release, we have guest speakers Samiksha Rai and Shabda Gewali with host Anup Upreti in a Sambad on Where Rubber Meets the Road, the ground realities of doing business in Nepal. We hope you enjoy the conversation.
आफ्नो स्वार्थलाई पुरा गर्नुभयो सारा नेपालीको नाक काट्नुभयो नेताजी
Hi, good afternoon. I couldn't play the whole song, but for that you'll have to come to Musicology tomorrow after party. I'm Anup Raj Upreti. I'm a corporate lawyer from Pioneer Law Associates. We'll be discussing about entrepreneurship and the issues related to that in this particular session. I'll give you the context of why I played that song as well, but let me first, finish that introduction here. And Shabda, if you could just...
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Shabda Gewali. I'm the head of investment at Dolma Impact Fund. Dolma Impact Fund is a private equity fund. We have invested in 16 companies from startup to infrastructure projects.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Samiksha Rai, the CEO and co-founder of Pack My Lunch. Pack My Lunch is a food service management company established in 2013. We have different verticals in our business, including corporate catering, canteen management, and event catering.
Yes. Thank you. So I think, when we're talking about entrepreneurship and the business and the problems we have in context of business environment, as a अगाडिको सेसनहरुमा नि we've discussed a lot नेपाल कति बन्यो कति बनेन कसको लागि बन्यो कसको लागि बनेन. So that was, I think, a very interesting discussion to say like हाम्रो ambition के हो त नेपालको कन्टेक्स्टबाट जाँदा where do we want to kind of see ourselves, what is our ambition भन्ने एउटा key discussion त्यो कन्टेक्स्टबाट पनि थियो. अर्को दुई तीनवटा theme that I think is going to be relevant for आजको डिस्कसनमा पनि is, we talk about demographic dividend. One of the key assets Nepal has is young, skilled population. But we talked about migration in earlier session and what that means for businesses in Nepal and how that might be pushing up the wages. So that was another thematic context that was discussed. But let me start with that song, and why that song is, I think, relevant for today's discussion is, I think that song is well written to really say what our politics is like, how our leaders is like. The theme is Thukka Netaji, right? So basically, I think that's what a lot of us feel that, and it was discussed in today's discussion, was politicians, the politics have failed us. I think that was one theme that is really running across the context. I think there's another theme also that Nepalma केही हुँदैन भन्ने narrative. So I recently read a headline in newspaper, basically one of the Congress leaders saying that Nepalma केही हुँदैन भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ कांग्रेसले चिर्छ, like Congress will solve that problem भन्ने कन्टेक्स्टबाट. So context to discuss business and entrepreneurship we're looking at is, on one hand, politicians have not done their job, and there's general frustration even for people who are working, that in Nepal nothing happens. So that's the kind of a context. I think in this context, I also wanted to also add is, recently we had a very unfortunate event. One of the entrepreneur, Prem Prasad Acharya, took his own life. And in that process, it left some recommendations on improving business environment in Nepal. So some of the points I think what he raised is kind of relevant and which has not changed as well. So one of the things he said is credit recovery is very difficult in Nepal. Those who are in distribution model, who are in manufacturing, when they sell to big chains, Big Mart, Bhatpati and others, recovery has been a problem, and that also adds a cost to the business. So that was one issue that is kind of written. Another one is kind of said about implement land leasing system. Definitely in agribusinesses, we don't have regulatory regime really well enough to really structure how land use is there, land lease is there, how it is done. So that is one. Another one is close all online shops that has not been registered. So again, this is another example of regulatory non-compliances where they make laws, they don't implement, and people who comply with the laws bear the cost. And you just want to be a Nepali style kind of a entrepreneur, you don't bear that cost. So it creates that disparity, and there's no level playing field as such. So that is one issue, again, very relevant for us. Another one he talked about was legalized cannabis farming. Again, it does have very economic potential. Nepal could do really well, but why don't we discuss about that? Why can't we really, in terms of policy setting, formulation, why are we really kind of not discussing that context? So I just wanted to give you this context before we start. And the way we want, the discussion we'll have is, except Samicha, both of us are not really entrepreneurs. So we have 3 entrepreneurs here. We'll really hear from people who've been on the ground doing their stuff. And I think what we want to do is kind of analyze that, put that context, and let's see if there is any takeaway that we can take. Before we go into that, I just wanted to pick up on some of this aspiration Nepal has. So Nepal has, in 15th plan, I think, our ambition has been that in 20 years' time, our per capita income should be $12,100 US. So I think currently it's 1,300 something. And to do that, we have to grow at the rate of 10.5% every year. So that is some data that we have. And to contribute to that growth, we have ambition of 30% coming from manufacturing sector, 60% coming from service sector. I think in this context, I'll want to go to Shabda, and can you please rationalize all of this data and any other data you think is appropriate?
Sure. So, thank you, Anup. First of all, I think what I want to correct Anup is that he's also a great entrepreneur. He runs a very successful business. Right. It's a law firm, but it's a business at the end of the day, right? So talking about data, I'm not an economist. The only economics I have is I have a degree in economics from undergrad. But भनिन्छ नि कि पढेर सिकिन्छ कि पढेर सिकिन्छ मेरो ऱ्यासनलाइजेसन चाहिँ पढेर सिकेको हो लास्ट 12 इयर्स चाहिँ यही क्षेत्रमा काम गरेर पढेर सिकेको चाहिँ यसो डेटालाई हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ why is it making sense or why is it not making sense भनेर हेर्दाखेरि like what Anup was saying कि 10.5% growth rate every year which is a real GDP. So nominal र रियलमा चाहिँ रियल भनेपछि अब त्यसमा इन्फ्लेसन पनि थपेर त अझै बढी हुनु पर्यो हैन 7-8% भनेको 18% को ग्रोथ हुनु पर्यो. अब 10% को ग्रोथ can we achieve it? We definitely have to aim for it. I know. So we have to aim for it. तर चाहिँ के गर्न सकिन्छ र what has worked and what has not worked हेरेर यसो मैले हिजो बेलुका यसो सोचिरहेको थिएँ and I've jotted some point down. Last 5 years मा चाहिँ हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ जम्मा 3.2% को ग्रोथ छ लास्ट 5 years मा. Yes, we can कहिले अब भूकम्प आयो, कोभिड आयो, नाकाबन्दी आयो, तर चाहिँ त्यो हाम्रो त्यो ग्रोथ चाहिँ 6.4, 8 भन्दा माथि कहिले पनि पुगेको छैन. सो त्यसको कारण के हो त भनेर एक्चुअली हामीले सोच्दाखेरि इफ यु पन्डर अराउन्ड इट, सो वाट वी सी इज कि हाम्रो ग्रोथ हेज अलवेज बिन कन्जम्सन ड्रिभन होइन. सो वाट वी निड इज चाहिँ ग्रोथ हेज टु बी ड्रिभन थ्रु प्रोडक्टिभ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट इन प्रोडक्टिभ सेक्टर. सो कन्जम्सनले पनि ग्रोथ ल्याउँछ तर प्रोडक्टिभ सेक्टरमा प्रोडक्टिभ एसेटमा लगानी गरेर होइन त्यहाँ जब क्रिएट गरेर पनि ग्रोथ आउँछ. सो ब्रिजहरू टाइममा बन्नु पऱ्यो, रोड टाइममा बन्नु पऱ्यो, बिल्डिङ्सहरू टाइममा बन्नु पऱ्यो, बोथ प्राइभेट सेक्टर एन्ड पब्लिक सेक्टर होइन. त्यो भएको छैन एउटा yes we have to put in more money. I'll come to where that money will come from. The second thing is हाम्रो project planning पनि छैन. It's not just we blame the government saying कि project time मा भएन ठेकदारलाई दियो ठेकदारले ढिलो गर्यो तर चाहिँ let's look at प्राइभेट सेक्टरको प्रोजेक्टहरू पनि कुन चाहिँ प्रोजेक्ट ब्याङ्कमा जुन प्रपोजल जान्छ चाहिँ हाइड्रो बनाउँछु या हस्पिटल बनाउँछु या होटल बनाउँछु चाहिँ कुन चाहिँ टाइममा बनाएको छ राइट सो द प्रोजेक्ट प्लानिङ फ्रम बोथ गभर्मेन्ट सेक्टर इज अल्सो इज पोर बट प्राइभेट सेक्टरले पनि इम्प्रुभ गर्नुपर्ने चाहिँ त्यसमा एकदम इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ जस्तो लाग्छ द थर्ड इज चाहिँ प्रोडक्टिभिटी होइन जस्तो चाहिँ मोर ब्याङ टु द बक भनेको चाहिँ 1 रुपियाँले चाहिँ त्यो मल्टिप्लायर इफेक्ट चाहिँ बढी हुनु पऱ्यो होइन यो एउटै हाम्रो त्यो वाट वी क्यान अफोर्ड इज वी हेभ भेरी लिटल रिसोर्सेस वी हेभ टु हेभ त्यसको मल्टिप्लायर इफेक्ट चाहिँ बढी हुनु पऱ्यो होइन अब इफ यु अब द्याट इज वेयर वी हेभ टु फोकस अन जस्तो लाग्छ तर त्यो अचिभ गर्न त्यो ग्रोथ अचिभ गर्न 10.5% नसकुला त्यही पनि अब योभन्दा बेटर कसरी गर्ने भनेर सोद्धाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ अब हामीले द फर्स्ट थिङ आई सेड कि वेयर इज द मनी राइट शो मी द मनी पैसा कहाँबाट आउँछ होइन पैसा आउँदाखेरि इफ यु लुक एट द डिपोजिट अफ द प्राइभेट सेक्टर अर द ब्याङ्कहरूमा डिपोजिट भएको इट्स $46 बिलियन हाराहारी हाम्रो जिडिपीको 100% जति या 101% जतिको छ त्यो वर्षको 10 to 15% चाहिँ ग्रोथ गरिरहेछ विच मिन्स हाम्रो $8 to 10 बिलियन चाहिँ एनुअली एडिसनल आइरहेछ त्यसले what we also need is त्यतिले पुग्दैन होइन what we are also saying कि यो त अहिलेको जस्तो अहिलेको लास्ट इयर हेर्ने भने 2.2% को ग्रोथ छ होइन यो यति पैसा त आइसक्यो त्यो ग्रोथले 2.2 बाट 2.4 यो भनेको 4% होला अरू पैसा कहाँबाट आउँछ नाउ वी आर अल्सो टकिङ अबाउट थिङ्स लाइक सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्ट गोल्सलाई अचिभ गर्नु पऱ्यो 10,000 मेगावाट 10 वर्षमा एक्सपोर्ट गर्ने भनेको छौँ होइन त्यो अब ब्याक अफ द एन्भलप क्यालकुलेट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो पैसा चाहिँ अराउन्ड $5 to 6 बिलियन डोमेस्टिकली नै हामीले जुटाउन सक्यौँ भने 3% ग्रोथ गऱ्यो भने $5 to 6 बिलियन एफडिआई चाहिन्छ आजको दिनमा एफडिआई कति आइरहेछ $175 मिलियन होइन विच वी निड 10 बिलियन भनौँ न $5 बिलियन भनेको $175 मिलियनबाट 5 मिलियन जानेको लागि धेरै कुरा छ होइन अब द सेकेन्ड पोइन्ट आई वाज ट्राइङ टु मेक इज द मोर ब्याङ्क टु द बक भन्दा खोजेको जुन क्रेडिट फ्लो भइरहेको छ इफ यु लुक एट द क्रेडिट फ्लो अफ द ब्याङ्क्स टु आवर प्राइभेट सेक्टर द ग्रोथ हेज बिन गुड होइन द सेन्ट्रल ब्याङ्क एक्चुली सेज कि अब ग्रोथ धेरै भयो क्रेडिट फ्लो धेरै भयो कम गर ढिलो गर अरू प्रोडक्टिभ सेक्टरमा द प्रोडक्टिभ एसेट क्रेडिट हेज टु फ्युल प्रोडक्टिभ ग्रोथ होइन अब त्यसमा चाहिँ वेयर वी कुड डु बेटर इन टर्म्स अफ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट इज कि त्यो सबै त्यो क्रेडिट चाहिँ अलिकति इन्सेन्टिभ दिएर प्रोडक्टिभ सेक्टरहरूलाई चाहिँ अलिक बढी इन्सेन्टिभ दिएर चिप कस्ट अफ डेट सस्तो गरेर होइन इन्सेन्टिभ्स दिएर त्यसमा मोबिलाइज गर्न सकिन्छ कि होइन अब फ्रम अ इन्टरनेसनल फ्रन्ट चाहिँ वाट वी आर क्लियर कि डजन्ट म्याटर विच गभर्मेन्ट इट इज बी इट यु नो कम्युनिस्ट अर क्यापिटलिस्ट चाहिँ वाट इज भेरी क्लियर इज चाहिँ पैसा बाहिरबाट ल्याउनुपर्छ तर पैसा बाहिरबाट ल्याउँदाखेरि चाहिँ के हो त कुरा होइन वाट आर द थिङ्स द्याट निड्स टु बी डन बेटर भन्ने कुरा पनि हेर्नुपर्छ त्यसमा एउटा आई जस्ट क्विकली पोइन्ट आउट द थिङ्स द्याट वी निड टु डु इज द फर्स्ट थिङ इज द हाम्रो जुन एउटा हरेक विदेशी लगानीकर्ताले सोध्ने भनेको चाहिँ यो करेन्सी हेजिङको इस्यु छ कि इफ यु थिङ्क अबाउट इट इन 2014 नेपाली रुपिज वाज अराउन्ड लाइक $1 वाज अराउन्ड 105 नेपाली रुपिज नाउ इट्स 130 to 133 लास्ट 10 वर्षमा हाम्रो हामीले केही नगरेर गरेर पनि 30% डिप्रिसिएट भइसक्यो होइन सो त्यो 30% को त्यो रिटर्न त कसरी ल्याउने होइन सो द्याट्स समथिङ द्याट वी हेभ टु क्र्याक सो यो फरेन करेन्सी हेजिङ चाहिँ इज भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट टु ब्रिङ इन मोर क्यापिटल फर मोर ग्रोथ दोस्रो कुरा चाहिँ all around the world, climate finance and climate mitigation is a big issue. So we have to tap into the climate finance. We can. And we have projects, we have opportunity, we have the location. त्यसमा अझै धेरै काम गर्नुपर्छ थर्ड इज दिस इज यु नो राजेश सर इज नट आई saw him earlier तर चाहिँ त्यो गोर्खापत्रमा चाहिँ एड दिएर चाहिँ लगानी भित्रिँदैन होइन वी हेभ टु डु रोड सो एन्ड रोड सो हेज टु बी आउटसाइड नेपाल रोड सो हेज टु बी आउटसाइड नेपाल एन्ड वी हेभ टु सो लाइक रिपोर्टले मात्रै चाहिँ विदेशी लगानीकर्ता आउँदैन वाट वी निड टु डु इज वी निड टु सो ट्र्याक रेकर्ड इन द सेन्स कि कति पैसा हाल्यौँ कति 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 बाहिर लग्यो हैन एन्ड द्याट इज वेयर द मनी विल फ्लो सो द्याट्स point number 3 number 4 that I want to break this myth is कि every time we say कि विदेशी लगानी आएन भन्ने बित्तिकै चाहिँ सरकारले काम गरेन मात्रै छ के हैन I've been bringing in FDI since last 12 years. I've been in the sector. I've been to DOI र राष्ट्रिय ब्याङ्क धाउँदा भन्नु न एक्सपिरियन्सै भइसक्यो तर के भने पहिला 13 महिना लाग्थ्यो तर आजकल 3 महिनामा पनि आछ के या 2 महिनामा पनि आछ 1 महिनामा पनि आछ विदेशी लगानी भनेको त्यो टाइम पनि त्यो स्ट्रिमलाइन भइसकेको छ हैन ह्युमन इन्टरभेन्सनले गर्न सक्ने जति कुरा त्यो रेगुलेटरी ह्युमन इन्टरभेन्सनले गर्ने सबै कुरा भइसकेको छ अब चाहिँ जस्ट कि एउटा अब यो राष्ट्रिय ब्याङ्कले काम गरेन या उद्योग विभागले काम गरेन भनेर विदेशी लगानी आउँदैन वी अल्सो हेभ टु गो आउटसाइड टु अट्र्याक्ट मनी फिफ्थ एन्ड मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुरा इज outbound. I know, yes, people will come here if there is a hydro to build here. For sectors like IT, and IT मा चाहिँ यहाँ पसल मात्रै खोलेर बाहिरको मान्छे मात्रै आएर चाहिँ पसलबाट सामान बिक्दैन बाहिर जानुपर्छ बाहिर सेल्स गर्नुपर्छ सो द्याट्स वेयर आई थिङ्क यो 5वटा कुरामा फोकस गर्यो भने चाहिँ हाम्रो जीडीपी ग्रोथ रेट बढ्छ जस्तो लाग्छ थ्याङ्क यू
So I think the conclusion is we need money and I guess we need entrepreneurs as well. So I think this is just you want to add something? Or I could just...
I just want to add one thing, which is that although Nepal Rashtra Bank is a very credible source for this kind of information, हाम्रो आफ्नो personal data, internal data collection गर्दाखेरि, when we look at, for example, we're looking at the price, the food inflation price. According to Nepal Rashtra Bank, last year, हजुरको 2023 to 24 February को convert गर्दाखेरि, there's a 6.5% increase. Whereas our internal data states that there's a 10.5% increase. So I think all of this also affects our eventual goal to get where we want to because the data is not matching up. And that affects me as a business person, but then I think we'll speak about it later.
Yeah, I think this issue about really, where is the next growth coming up, and in terms of entrepreneurs, kind of quality of data that we have, can we really plan for the future based on what we read with the official data? I think that's the issue. So I will want to go to and then I think hear from the experience of entrepreneurs, and I think generally is the issue about what are the issues in your particular business. If you could give me like 5 top problems that you have, or you just may not have any problems. What is your ambition? What is your growth? What is preventing that growth? I think is really interesting to really discuss. And also, if we talked about a lot about demographic dividend, if that is really helping your business or not, that's something we'll also kind of discuss later. But in that context, if you could just add that as well. I'll go to Prithvi first and just introduce your business and just go ahead with those issues that you want to share.
Thank you. Thank you for this project, Samvad, for letting me give my insights of my real ground problems in this panel discussion. Before telling my problems, I want to start with the opportunities I've seen with my business, and I'm really excited to have started my startup in Nepal. I'm Prithvi Kalyan Parazuli. I'm entrepreneur at Posilo Foods. We currently manufacture different varieties of sattu, and we are expanding our networks in Nepal. So the opportunity that I see being a Nepali entrepreneur is that we have India and China as our neighboring nation, and India and China, they carry more than 2.5 billion population. Globally, roughly approximately 8 billion population, they have more than 2.5 billion population. र त्यसले मलाई एकदम एक्साइट गर्छ कि एज अ नेपाली एन्टरप्रेनर भएकोमा किन भन्दाखेरि we have already easy access to travel and go around India. अब चाइनासँग पनि यो सुध्रिँदै गयो भने इफ वी हेभ हामी इन्डिया र चाइना गएर लर्न गर्न सक्यौँ भने यो जस्ट ठुलो पपुलेसन मात्रै होइन कि होल 8 बिलियन पपुलेसनको लागि नै एउटा यो एकदम राम्रो गेट अवे देख्छु क्या मैले इन्डिया र चाइना चाहिँ अनि मुभिङ अन टु द्याट मैले के चाहन्छु भन्दा एज अ नेपाली प्रड्युसर नेपाली सुपर फुड प्रड्युसर वाट आई वान्ट फ्रम नेपाली पोलिसी मेकर इज टु इन्डिया र चाइनामा एटलिस्ट हामीले बिजनेस एक्सपेन्सन गर्नको लागि चाहिँ एउटा सजिलो इन्भाइरोमेन्ट बनोस् के हामीले चाहिँ इन्डिया र चाइनामा हाम्रो बिजनेस एक्सपान्ड गर्न मैले देखेको एउटा मात्रै रुट रहेछ, त्यो भनेको उताको लोकल डिस्ट्रिब्युटर बनाउने। उताको लोकल डिस्ट्रिब्युटर बनाएपछि त हामीले उनीहरूलाई एक्सपोर्ट गर्छौँ र एक्सपोर्ट गरेपछि अरू मार्केटिङ एक्टिभिटिजहरू गर्नुपर्छ, धेरै एक्टिभिटिजहरू गर्नुपर्छ। डिस्ट्रिब्युटर विल नट लुक आफ्टर द्याट। हामीले त्यहाँ बिजनेस सेटअप गरेर त्यहाँ हामीले थोरै केही रकम इन्भेस्ट गरेर त्यहाँ मार्केटिङहरू, त्यताको एक्जिबिसन्सहरूमा हाम्रो प्रडक्टहरू देखाउन सक्यौँ भने अनि पो हामीले हाम्रो प्रडक्ट चाहिँ त्यो मार्केटमा पनि एक्सपान्ड गर्न सक्छौँ त। अब लिगल सोर्स थ्रु होइन, लिगल्ली हामीले इन्डिया चाइना लगायत अरू कन्ट्रिजमा पैसा पठाएर अब हाम्रो प्रडक्ट मार्केटिङ गर्नु पऱ्यो। यहाँ के आइदिन्छ 25% सर्भिस ट्याक्स। सो वी आर अलरेडी आउट अफ द कम्पिटिसन के। हामीले हाम्रो प्रडक्ट चाहिँ मार्केटिङ गर्नैको लागि इन्डियन लोकल प्रड्युसर्स भन्दा हामीले 25% धेरै मार्केटिङ कस्ट गर्नुपर्छ त। हाउ क्यान वी बी एबल टु ब्रान्ड आवर प्रडक्ट्स इन कन्ट्रिज लाइक दिस? अनि कसरी एक्सपान्ड गर्ने त अरू कन्ट्रिजमा होइन? सो एउटा गेटवे चाहिँ एटलिस्ट इन्डिया र चाइनासँग हामीले एउटा अपर्च्युनिटी हेरेर चाहिँ हाम्रो बिजनेस एक्सपान्ड गर्न सजिलो वातावरण, इन्भाइरोमेन्ट, पोलिसी बनाइदिनु पऱ्यो भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। यो मेरै एक्सपिरियन्सबाट मैले बुझेको कुरा हो। अनि द सेकेन्ड प्रब्लम आई सी इज नेपालकै ग्रासरुट लेभलमा चाहिँ हाम्रो प्रब्लम भनेको वाट वी आर ट्राइङ टु डु इज नेपाली प्रडक्टलाई, एग्रिकल्चर प्रडक्टलाई भ्यालु एडिसन गरेर नेपालमा मात्रै नभइकन ग्लोबल्ली हामी सेल गर्न चाहन्छौँ। अनि यसमा के छ भन्दा हो हामी कन्ट्र्याक्ट एग्रिकल्चर गर्छौँ फार्मर्ससँग। अघि प्यानलबाटै कुरा आएको थियो, हामीले कन्ट्र्याक्ट गरेपछि इन्फ्लेसन भइदिन्छ। एनआरबीको डेटा भन्दा रियल डेटामा हामीले एक्सपिरियन्स गर्ने इन्फ्लेसन बढी नै हुन्छ होइन? अनि प्राइस बढेको बेलामा चाहिँ हामीले कन्ट्र्याक्ट एग्रिकल्चर गरे पनि फार्मर्सले थर्ड पर्सनलाई बेचिदिन उत्साहित हुन्छ क्या होइन? अर्को ठाउँको मान्छे आइदिन्छ, दे अफर मोर मनी देन द कन्ट्र्याक्ट होइन? फार्मरले उता बेचिदिन्छ, प्रडक्ट सकिसक्यो, अब हामीसँग कन्ट्र्याक्ट छ भनेर कसलाई देखाउँदै हिँड्ने? द्याट डजन्ट मेक एनी सेन्स होइन? अब यसलाई हामीले कसरी स्ट्रेन्थेन गर्न सक्छौँ, यो कुरा भयो। मैले अर्को थर्ड प्रब्लम, खास मैले फर्स्टमै मेन्सन गर्नुपर्ने प्रब्लम थियो, तर यो प्रब्लम भनेको चाहिँ कस्तो छ भन्दा एउटा नेपाली अन्टरप्रेनरले एउटा आइडिया ल्यायो, आइडिया ल्याएपछि यो रेजिस्ट्रेसनदेखि सेयर लगत आउँदासम्मै 2 महिना लाग्छ सोझो तरिकाले जाँदाखेरि। हामीले रिसेन्ट न्युजहरूमा पनि के देखाएका छौँ भन्दा केही च्यानल थ्रु युज गरेर चाहिँ 2 दिनमा कम्पनी दर्तादेखि लिएर रेजिस्ट्रेसन, सेयर लगत पनि आइसक्यो। तर अन्टरप्रेनरको रियालिटी के छ भन्दा नाम एप्रुभ हुन 14 डेज लाग्छ क्या। अनि त्यो सेयर लगत आउँदासम्मको 2 महिनामा त अन्टरप्रेनरको आइडिया कहाँ पुग्छ होइन? ऊ फ्रस्ट्रेसनमा पुगिसकेका हुन्छ। एउटा बिजनेस ब्याकग्राउन्डबाटै आइडिया आएकोको त पेसेन्स होला, तर एउटा टेक्निकल ब्याकग्राउन्डबाट आएको अन्टरप्रेनरले यो सबै कुरा ह्यान्डल गर्नै सक्दैन क्या। अनि मुभिङ अन टु द नेक्स्ट प्रब्लम आई सी, गभर्मेन्टले चाहिँ एउटा नेपालको युनिक प्रडक्टहरूलाई पनि आइडेन्टिफाई गर्नु पऱ्यो। मैले ग्राउन्डमै देखेको एउटा प्रब्लम के हो भन्दा हामीले फार्मर्सहरू, एग्रिगेटर्सहरू म्यापिङ गर्न सुरु गऱ्यौँ कि हामीलाई चाहिने इन्ग्रिडियन्ट्सहरूको। अनि नेपाली प्रडक्ट बेच्नु पऱ्यो नि त बाहिर गएर। नेपालमा फलाएको एभोकाडो हामी इन्डिया चाइनामा बेचेर हु विल बी एक्साइटेड होइन? एभोकाडो त मेक्सिकोकै खान खोज्ला नि त मान्छेले। नेपालको स्याउ, सुन्तला, अब यहाँ प्रब्लम के छ भन्दा नेपाली यो कृषि यति धेरै विभागहरू छ, उनीहरूको फोकस अमेरिकनले रिसर्च गरे, इन्डियनले रिसर्च गरे, चाइनिजले रिसर्च गरे, हाइब्रिड एउटा बिउ यहाँ ल्याइदिन्छ फार्मर्सलाई चाहिँ। अनि उनीहरूले ल एभोकाडो लगाऊ, किवी लगाऊ, तिमीहरूलाई चाहिँ अनुदान छ बिउमा भनिदिन्छ। नेपाली यो विभागहरूले अनुदान दिँदाखेरि त नेपाली युनिक प्रडक्ट के हो त्यो चिनेर नेपाली सुपरफुड के हो। अब जस्तै अघि हजुरले पनि कुरा निकाल्नु भयो, गाँजा नेपालको लागि एकदम राम्रो अपर्च्युनिटी हुनसक्छ जिडिपी ग्रोथको लागि। यसको रिक्रिएसनल युज होला, यसको मेडिसिनल युज होला, यसको अब अरू प्रडक्ट्सहरूमा जस्तै क्लोथ्सहरू बनाउन युज होला होइन? नेपालको युनिक प्रडक्ट भनेको गाँजा हुनसक्ला, स्याउ हुनसक्ला, नेपालको नट्सहरू, कटुसहरू हुनसक्ला। हामी हाई हिमालयन रेन्जमा गयो भने सिभकथ्रोनहरू देखिन्छ। अहिले यो के छ भन्दा जस्ट गाउँमा फलिरहेछ, वनमा फलिरहेछ, सिजनमा आउँछन्, उनीहरू अलिअलि टिप्छन्, छोड्छन् होइन? अनि अनुदान आइदिन्छ विदेशी प्रडक्टहरूमा। अनि लोकल फार्मर्सहरू चाहिँ आफ्नो प्रोडक्टिभिटी नै नभएको एभोकाडो फलाउनमा प्रोत्साहन हुन्छन्, आफ्नो प्रोडक्टिभिटी नै नभएको डिफ्रेन्ट टाइप्स अफ नट्सहरू फलाउन प्रोत्साहन हुन्छन् होइन? अनि यसले गर्दाखेरि त नेपाली प्रडक्ट हामीले कहिले बेच्ने त नि? एउटा हामीले चाहिँ
GDP मात्रै ग्रोथ नगरिकन एउटा इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ गर्न त हामीले हाम्रो प्रडक्ट बाहिर सेल गर्नु पर्यो नि त बाहिर सेल गर्नको लागि त हाम्रो युनिक प्रडक्ट चाहियो हामीले कसरी अरूको प्रडक्ट नेपालमा उत्पादन गरेर बाहिर बेच्दाखेरि त विल बी आउट अफ द कम्पिटिसन हाम्रो युनिक प्रडक्ट भएको फरेनर्स विल बी होइन अब नेपालको सातु खानको लागि एक्साइटेड हुन्छ नेपालमै बनेको सातु चाहिन्छ है युरोपमा बनेको सातु खाँदिनँ नेपालमै मुस्ताङमै फलेको स्याउ चाहिन्छ भन्ने एउटा त्यो हामीले ब्रान्ड इस्टाब्लिस गर्न सक्नु पऱ्यो कि त्यसको लागि गभर्मेन्ट लेभलबाट चाहिँ आइडेन्टिफिकेसन राम्रो हुनु पऱ्यो वाट आवर रियल प्रडक्ट इज भनेर होइन र अर्को कुरा नेपालमा हामी कम्पिट गर्नको लागि हामीलाई के दिनु पऱ्यो भन्दा नेपाली प्रड्युसमा चाहिँ भ्याट हटाउनु पऱ्यो कम मात्रै होइन आई वुड से भ्याट हटाउनु पऱ्यो र इम्पोर्टेड सिमिलर प्रडक्ट्समा चाहिँ वी क्यान रेज भ्याट फ्रम 13% अप टु 20% भ्याट रेज गरियो भने हामी नेपाली प्रड्युस नेपालमा अनि बल्ल हामी कम्पिट गरेर चाहिँ बेच्न सक्छौँ होइन त्यो अब जस्तै नेपालको गहुँ र हाम्रो रियालिटीमा नेपालको गहुँ र इन्डियाको गहुँ अथवा रसियाबाट आएको गहुँ किन्दाखेरि रसियाबाट आएको व्हिट एकदमै सस्तो पर्न जान्छ होइन अनि तर हामी त एज अ पोसिलो फुड्स हामी चाहिँ वी आर अलवेज ट्राइङ टु सोर्स ग्रेन्स फ्रम नेपाली फार्मर्स नै के अनि विदेशी कम्पनीले हाम्रो जस्तो प्रडक्ट चाहिँ ल्याइदिएपछि नेपाली फार्मर्सलाई हामीले जुन इम्पावर गर्नको लागि हामीले प्रडक्टहरू बनाइरहेको छौँ हाम्रो प्रडक्ट महँगो हुन जान्छ होइन सो यसले गर्दाखेरि ट्याक्सको कुराहरूमा पनि आई थिङ्क गभर्मेन्ट सुड टेक गुड केयर
फेरि यसैमा गर्दाखेरि अस्ति लास्ट टाइम वेन वी डिस्कस होइन एउटा इस्यु चाहिँ कस्तो पनि तपाईँले उठाउनु भएको थियो भन्दा बाहिरबाट आएको प्रडक्टलाई चाहिँ नेपाली स्ट्यान्डर्ड नलाग्ने होइन नेपालबाटै आएको नेपालमै बनेको म्यानुफ्याक्चरलाई चाहिँ नेपाली स्ट्यान्डर्ड लाग्ने अनि त्यो डुवेलले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ इज चिप बाहिरबाट आएको प्रडक्ट इज चिप भन्ने एउटा त्यो पनि यही कन्टेक्सबाट पनि त्यसबाट रिमाइन्ड यु द्याट है
यस जस्तै हामीले बेबी फुडको रिसर्चहरू ब्याक एन्डमा सुरु गऱ्यौँ अनि त्यसलाई चाहिँ अब इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन गरेर अब मार्केट रेडी गर्ने बेलामा स्ट्यान्डर्डाइजेसन आयो हुँदै नभएको स्ट्यान्डर्डाइजेसन आउने त राम्रो कुरा हो तर के हुनु पऱ्यो भन्दा त्यो स्ट्यान्डर्डाइजेसन लोकल प्रड्युसलाई पनि लाग्नु पऱ्यो र इम्पोर्टेड कम्पनीजलाई पनि लाग्नु पऱ्यो कि इम्पोर्टेड कम्पनीजलाई चाहिँ नलाग्ने हामीलाई लाग्ने भयो भने त फेरि देयर वी आर आउट अफ द कम्पिटिसन क्वालिटीमा चाहिँ कम्प्रोमाइज गर्नु भएन लोकल म्यानुफ्याक्चररले पनि गर्नु भएन तर जुन न्युट्रिसन लेभलको कुराहरू हुन्छ
सेम एप्लिकेसन सबैलाई अघि मैले भनेको थिएँ नि अनलाइन रजिस्टर्ड नभएको अनलाइनहरू बन्द गर्नुपर्छ भने जस्तै लाइक ल चाहिँ सेम इम्प्लिमेन्ट गर्नु पऱ्यो अदरवाइज अगेन एड्स टु द कस्ट अफ डुइङ बिजनेस भन्ने कन्टेक्सबाट होइन त्यो कन्टेक्सबाट थियो अनि आई थिङ्क अघि यु अल्सो रेज दिस इस्यु अबाउट त्यो सब्सिडी पोलिसिजहरू लास्ट टाइम वेन वी डिस्कस यु गिभ अ एक्जाम्पल अब जहाँ सुन्तला फल्छ त्यहाँ चाहिँ स्ट्रबेरी लगा भनेर सब्सिडी आएछ सो द्याट्स अल्सो वेयर यु नो थिङ्स आर गोइङ रङ अनि यु अल्सो टक्ड अबाउट अब यो ग्रोथ यो फ्युचर प्लानमा चाहिँ आई थिङ्क यु आर अ प्लान टु नाउ गो अल नेपाल होइन अब सबै नेपालमै प्रड्युस भएको प्रडक्टमै गर्ने भनेर मेबी समथिङ ब्रिफली अन द्याट आई थिङ्क भेरी इन्ट्रेस्टिङ टु हियर अबाउट द्याट
Yes, now we are very much excited to launch 100% Nepali source products होइन यसमा चाहिँ हामीले अहिले चाहिँ हामी ग्रेन्सहरू चाहिँ नेपाली युज गर्छौँ हाम्रो प्रडक्टहरूमा र अब हामीले लन्च गर्न लागेको प्रडक्टहरूमा चाहिँ वी आर ट्राइङ होइन वी विल बी युजिङ अल सुपर फुड्स पनि नेपाली नै क्या यसको लागि यही नै हो अघि मैले डिस्कस गरेको प्रब्लम्सहरू चाहिँ त्यसमा अब किसानहरू प्रोत्साहित नै छैनन् कि नेपाली इन्डिजिनियस प्रड्युसहरू लगाउन होइन अनि यसमा चाहिँ अलिकति गभर्मेन्ट लेभलबाट पनि एउटा इनपुट आइदिनु पऱ्यो आइडेन्टिफाई गरिदिनु पऱ्यो अनि नेपाल गभर्मेन्ट साइडबाट कस्तो भइदिनु पऱ्यो भन्दा नेपाली हाई भ्यालु प्रड्युसलाई चाहिँ एक्सपोर्ट गर्न र उत्पादन गर्ने प्रोत्साहन गर्नु पऱ्यो कि किसानलाई अब हामी जान्छौँ म्यापिङ गर्दै होइन अब जस्तै सुपर फुड्सहरू हामीलाई चाहिने सुपर फुड्सहरू लगाउने गाउँहरूमा म्यापिङ गर्न जान्छौँ त्यहाँ प्रब्लम के भइदिन्छ भन्दा हामीलाई अनुदान यसमा आएकै छैन अरू अब सपोज त्यही सुन्तला आउने ठाउँमा अब लगाउने गाउँमा हामीलाई अब क्युमा अनुदान आउँछ अब हामी किन सुन्तला रोपिराख्ने भन्छ अनि उनीहरूको प्रोडक्टिभिटी पनि घटिदिन्छ क्या अनि तर पनि अब वी आर ट्राइङ टु कन्भिन्स फार्मर्स एग्रिगेटर्सहरू ठाउँको होइन हामी मिनिमम तपाईँको यति प्रडक्सन चाहिँ वी टेक द ग्यारेन्टी होइन लगाउनुहोस् भनेर चाहिँ वी ट्राई टु कन्भिन्स देम किन भन्दा मलाई एउटा यस्तो रियलाइजेसन छ कि नेपाली सुपर फुड्स इफ वी क्यान टेक ग्लोबल इट विल हेभ रियली गुड भ्याल्यु होइन अनि त्यसकै लागि वी आर वर्किङ डे एन्ड आउट यसकै लागि काम गरिरहेछौँ सो हाउ कसरी एउटा क्वालिटी स्ट्यान्डर्डको बनाउन सकिन्छ अनि कसरी हाई प्रोडक्सन गर्न सकिन्छ नेपाली प्रड्युसहरू भनेर एज अ प्राइभेट सेक्टर चाहिँ हामीले ट्राई गरिरहेछौँ तर पोलिसीबाटै यसलाई चाहिँ कुरा निस्कियो र इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन निस्क्यो भने आई थिङ्क इट क्यान मेक अ बिगर इम्प्याक्ट अनि नेपालीले सेल गर्ने चाहिँ लाइक हामी ग्रेन्सहरू सेल गरेर हामी धनी हुन अलिकति गाह्रै पर्ला तर हाम्रो युनिक प्रडक्टहरू सेल गर्नु पऱ्यो त्यो भनेको थोरै वेटमा हाई कमर्सियल भ्यालु आउने प्रडक्टहरू आउनु पऱ्यो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई अनि या आई सी रियली गुड अपर्च्युनिटी यस्तो कुराहरूमा सो अब बाहिर कुनै फरेन ल्यान्ड गएर चाहिँ उताको रिलेटेड अन्टरप्रेनर्सहरूसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरि पनि दे गेट रियली एक्साइटेड अबाउट नेपाली प्रडक्ट्स के थाहा पाउँदा नै के होइन अनि दे गेट रियली एक्साइटेड टु कम इन नेपाल अनि नेपाली प्रड्युसहरू पनि बाहिर लानको लागि एकदम एक्साइटमेन्ट बढिरहेको हुन्छ यो हाम्रो न्युट्रिसन फुड सेक्टरको साथीहरूसँग भेट्दाखेरि अनि या आई थिङ्क एउटा सस्टेनेबल इकोनोमी र ऱ्यापिड एउटा इकोनोमिक ग्रोथको लागि चाहिँ यस्तो सेक्टरहरूमा एउटा राम्रो ध्यान जानुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ
You believe in future like
yeah I do strongly believe I do strongly believe धेरै स्ट्रगल्सहरू गरिराख्नुपर्छ तर गिभ अप गर्नु भएन जस्तो लाग्छ हैन जस्ट कीप अन डुइङ व्हाट यु बिलिभ है
I think good character of entrepreneur I guess कति प्रब्लम हुन्छ I don't care
yeah it's really struggling तर के गर्ने त हैन स्ट्रगल गर्नै पर्यो त्यही नै हो that's the part हैन त्यही नै हो जर्नी जस्तो लाग्छ अनि I'm really excited तर
thank you I'll now want to go to Rumi and then similar context whatever you want to share with us.
Sure. Hi, my name is Rumi Singh. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Roomsen. It's a frontier tech company. So we are very heavily involved in blockchain solutions. We currently have a solution called Rahat, which is a decentralized financial access platform. And it is working towards supporting marginalized communities who are at risk of the impact of climate change. Ani tyo सँगसँगै I also run a non-for-profit. I have a non-for-profit called Hamro Life Bank. Hamro Life Bank is an organization that is involved in cutting the stress of finding and managing blood and blood donors in Nepal. त्यसमा चाहिँ we work with blood banks, we work with corporates to run blood donation events, and we have a hotline as well. So I know Anupjile problems and challenges harko kurama start garदाखेरि I think I'd love to start with the aspect of a tech company ko perspective ma kura garदाखेरि चाहिँ नि so we deal with a lot of unknowns when it comes with regulations and I think the clarity around it, right? So blockchain ma kaam गर्ने बित्तिकै it comes with a lot of baggage. It comes with the questions of is it legal, is it illegal? So we've spent a lot of time trying to get people onboarded and trying to get people to understand what it is and how it is different from crypto. That said, Nepalma crypto illegal छ तर मैले अहिले अनुपजीले भन्नुभएको चाहिँ I think we're really missing out with cannabis illegal bhai jastै. I think there's a huge potential economy ma for us to really work on that if that was legal. But that's again a completely different discussion, so I don't want to go there. तर यो पोलिसिजहरू अलि क्ल्यारिटी नभएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नि especially यो एकदमै सेन्सिटिभ टेकको एस्पेक्टमा चाहिँ you don't know, it feels like नेपालको when you are an entrepreneur it feels like it's going to be jail time first and then the questions will come rather than the opposite part. So the entrepreneurs who are really working in this space is like really risking it, and we are also like trying to be in the safe space where we work within the regulations. Of course we are working within the regulations, but it really stifles the creativity and the potential of getting in FDI in that aspect. And also I think the other problem is also your policies ko main chai the PR aspect is very bad, I would say. People are not clear ke ho यो भइहाल्छ है कल्चरले पनि it's working for some, it's not working for some, the implementation is not there. So people are not aware of it. And I know Shabdaji talked about like doing a road show, going outside, getting that awareness out. So which is very important because just recently, because we are very focused on the social impact space. So I have a lot of conversations with potential impact investors. And basically, I just had a conversation with someone yesterday who said, we don't invest in Nepal. Nepalma paisa ल्याउन एकदम सजिलो छ, निकाल्न एकदम गाह्रो छ. So do you have another entity? Like we'd rather invest in the other entity if that's the option. So, I mean, I do have another entity because that's where, we are looking as a tech company to see where is the profit margin, right? So, Nepal, if you have an opportunity to, or option to have a company elsewhere versus Nepal, like what is the benefit? Right, so for someone from a Nepali origin or बाहिरको citizenहरू छ भने, there's so many of them who want to invest in Nepal, but it's very, very restrictive. So Nepalको culture, everything here, it's much easier here. We know the space. We want to invest here. But if the profit margin is decreasing, then at some point, I think Nepal will lose. So I feel like it's shameful. It would be a shame if we can't really leverage on the talent that's there, people who want to really, especially Nepali diaspora company, recently had an interaction with this amazing diaspora group, and they really want to come and do something in Nepal. Nepal is no farke pani, so I have a history, like I was in the US for 13 years, I came back, I'm working here, I'm finding, figuring out how to work things. But there are so many other folks who may not be able to come to Nepal, but still want to invest in Nepal. So how are we capturing that is also a question. Orko issue, like एकदम सानो कुरामा पनि. So as a blockchain company, again, Draw Impact Space, even though we work, some of the implementation is in Nepal, we're also very dependent on export income. So export income ko aspect ma pani, I know there were some good things that happened. 1% tax ghatayo, which was great. I think that was very, very, that incentivized us. Now it's changed to 12.5. We don't know when we'll go back to 25%. So how do we really like manage our financial projection, our growth? Like that's really, really difficult. I think, again, because the clarity is high, and things keep on changing, and we don't know when things will switch and what would be available. So त्यो पार्टमा पनि एकदम गाह्रो छ. अनि again export income को चाहिँ म अलिकति example दिँदाखेरि, so when the income comes in, so we have to go through this speculation. We have to tell where the income is coming from, even if it's grant, right? So it's coming in from this aspect. यो आइराछ भनेर गर्छ. So when the banks approve it, there's a hold because NRB has all of these questions. Now, as a company, we have bills to pay, we have salaries to give. We can't not pay people for like months, right? So त्यसको कारणले गर्दाखेरि the speculation comes in, and it's very random. It's not that, we have a checklist, we've done this, that, so it's done, the income is coming, we're all setting, because sometimes the speculation, the questions are very different, even for the same process. One time we had an incident where income आयो, हामीले bankले approve गर्यो. We actually got the income, we gave it, paid our bills, salaries are distribute garyo. NRB said, okay, you need to return the thing, we have to put a hold. We need to figure out what's happening. And how do we deal with that, right? So I feel like because the processes are not properly structured, I think that puts a lot of pressure on entrepreneurs, especially to pay and like the operations like lead garane. So I think that itself is a very difficult aspect. Orko एउटा कुरा चाहिँ मैले not for profit को share गरेँ है, so which may be very different from the context here, but still we got a grant or some award or some investment from this group of Nepali American Medical Foundation better to support our initiative. It wasn't a lot. It was $18,000, right? The pain that I had to go through to just get to SWC, the process and everything was so difficult. I was like, I don't want any money. No, you're not for profit. Like, I'd rather not spend that money and the time. Present गर्ने, भत्ता दिने, सबैजनालाई. That process is so difficult. And I understand if I was getting $1 million, I would have done that. But I was just getting 18,000, right? So the 18,000 like the worth it, So I feel there should be some levels of like, like it can't be a blanket approach for everyone, because we are working with different aspects and everybody has this different kind of tier that they fall in. So all of these things can get a little frustrating at times, but Prithvi, you know, entrepreneurs, we take risks.
It's in the blood, Vanessa.
We find it's a safe space, we find loopholes, and we work our way out. And I know Chanda's going to speak in a little bit, but you know, he's one of my kind. Like, he's also into blockchain, and he was just asking me, अब म नेपालमा start गर्नको लागि regulatory उसमा कसलाई भन्न जाम नभन. Just do your homework. Just be safe. Understand what are the legal, because obviously we can't do something illegal, right? Even though we believe, you know, gaja le kati dere garcha, but we can't do the business around it because the country doesn't. I mean, it's going to be a shame and a loss for the country. So, but I think as entrepreneurs, we sort of have to look at, abide by the rules so that we have our books clear. We don't do anything illegal or unethical, but, you know, work our way through. So I would just pause there.
So I think a very important point on this regulatory predictability that kind of relates to fundraising and investment raising in that sense. And also the issue you've raised about, you know, getting funds and SWC को context बाट चाहिँ अहिले हामीले पनि regulatory context बाट हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ what regulators don't understand is how come people just give you money and they don't want any returns, or, you know, in the context of blended finance. And we've been discussing with central bank, and there are these funds, with sustainable funds they give to banks, and they don't charge interest, and after some years you just need to return the principal, right? And the whole confusion is, what is this? Is that a loan? Is that what? Should this go to SWC? And alikati yo spare ma janda चाहिँ it's kind of really, you know, difficult in this context. So also I think legality, illegality context one is very interesting Nepalma. You know, look at ride sharing business. You know, definitely it was still illegal till some time back. So some of the provinces have passed the law. तर जुन बेलामा टुटल आयो, पठाओ आयो, that's an illegal business activity. हाम्रो lawले त्यो allow गर्दैन थियो. And we also had given opinions at that particular time to actually look at the law and say it's not permitted. Right? But entrepreneurs went ahead with that. Public bought in, and it just became a mainstream transport. Then Prime Minister has to intervene and say, don't take regulatory action. And there was a lot of regulatory forbearance in that context. So Nepalma कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ sometimes you need to, not need only in Nepal, Airbnb आउँदा पनि त्यही हो, Uber आउँदा पनि त्यही, worldwide. So regulation is always behind, and they try to catch up, or they don't catch up sometimes. They just remains like that. So it's very interesting to see that what comes first, you know, a business or a regulation, and what do this role of regulation they should play in terms of these businesses. अर्को चाहिँ नेपालमा अर्को interesting example, यात्री मोटरसाइकलको हुन्छ, road illegal bike. They stole the bikes, and bikes are like now running on the street. After 4-5 years, they got the registration done. I mean, I don't think that this happens in any other country. That's I'm saying is really from a positive side of things, right? Because they've raised the funds, they've manufactured motorcycles, and they stole the motorcycles. But our law is so backdated that, you know, they have to come after so many years and say, okay, now it is legal. You know, owners can really have that context. So I think नेपालमा अलिकति regulation context-बाट अलिक positive side चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरि एकदमै धेरै enforcement त्यसरी पनि भएको छैन, जसरी अब यात्रीको लागि हुन सक्थ्यो अथवा टुटल पठाओको राइड शेयरिङको कन्टेक्स्टबाट हुन्थ्यो. I think people have regulatory forbearance is also one interesting aspect. It does not give a predictability, but still people can go around, you know, innovate. So that's the context.
Yeah, just wanted to add as well. I think the openness to understand is very important, right? So VOIP was the same thing. It was illegal, right? VOIP ko pani tetro kanto bhayo. I think jail goyo. There were lots of things that happened.
That is still illegal. That kind of VOIP is still illegal.
I'll stop at
the
that
other
one.
ones like calls, you know, calls through internet, those are okay. That's still illegal in that sense.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay.
But anyway, I think the regulation ko jolly bonauncha, it's very important for them to have an open mind. So we've been actually going to NRB, CBI to really make them understand if you're going to get people like कसैलाई jail lanu cha bhane, you need to understand why and what it is. And I feel just very quickly, like media also plays a big part, right? So when the whole fiasco happened about crypto a few years ago, they just portrayed like, oh, it's Bitcoin's banned, blockchain is banned. But I think the understanding is also very important.
Thank you. I'll go to Chandan now, and just before that, yes, go ahead.
So just on this point, your regulation पहिला आउने कि अब industry पहिला आउने कि regulation पहिला आउने हैन. So I can give you an example of private equity industry. You know? So when we started, private equity को पपन थिएन नेपालमा, right? So when we started investing चाहिँ के थियो भने अब we were doing as a foreign investor. अहिले there's a private equity association, right? There's a industry came 5, 7, 8 years down the line. So what is also important is that track record to be created. Once you start doing, the regulators will understand. Like the theory, I know there's a risk to it, but the theory, if you can say the real examples of actually doing, be it private equity regulation or I see Sikshit there total ko kurama pani, mass momentum to junsani mass जनताले कुरा बुझेपछि रेगुलेटरले बुझ्नै पर्छ के. There's no other way. So I think that's also very important. The track record पनि देखाउनु पर्छ.
So I want to go to Chandan, but before that, I'll explain why he's asking all the questions to you. Because once I told him something, he lost his sleep for a week, and I'll let the floor to you now.
Thank you. I'm Chandan. I'm co-founder of Alpha Labs. And good. Okay. I'm Chandan. I'm the co-founder of Alpha Labs. Work in the space of blockchain and something called zero knowledge proofs. First of all, thank you for inviting me here, Anupji. I just want to pick on one idea here. There are a lot of issues that are being raised by two of our amazing sort of entrepreneurs here. I want to pick on the idea of offering equity to employees. What is it? Why is it important, and why is it relevant for us, for Nepal? And I want to touch on the life of a startup founder. As a startup, right, as a founder, like one of my main priorities, I want to build a team where all the team members are aligned on a singular vision. It's an extremely difficult life of a founder as well as early employees of a startup because there's so much uncertainties, ambiguous environments, so many challenges that you have to solve. So as a founder's perspective, right, I want my employees to be aligned. They should feel that this is my company, that we are going toward a singular vision. From employees' perspective, right, they are sacrificing so much to work on a startup. And they should feel, okay, I'm doing this, I'm sacrificing this because there is something that I will get at the end of it. And so that's why that alignment is so important for a startup. Equities are offered like by established companies as well. Microsoft, Facebook, all of them offer equities in different ways. Like you might have heard about ESOPs. There's a direct equity, and there's other ways to do it. And so that's from the perspective of employees, from the founders. Like we want a collective sort of alignment for a singular vision. But it is not just contained on that. It has a much broader implications when we offer equity to employees of a startup. I want to give an example like of PayPal, Google, and sort of Facebook, right? They were a startup at some point, became very successful. The first few employees of PayPal, they built YouTube, they built LinkedIn, they built Yelp, Tesla, SpaceX. These are the companies that early employees of a startup built. Same with the Google, same with the Facebook. One company, then on, and employees of those companies went on to build 100 different companies, right? Now, why did that happen? Two things, right? Early employees of a startup are the most well-equipped to become a founder because they have gone through the experience of what it takes to build a company, what it takes to be successful. Both from technical sense, right? Like in terms of like what we need to do, what kind of decision we need to make, what kind of work-life balance it will be, when to take funding, all of these things. Also from the perspective of finances. Why did Elon Musk was able to start Tesla or SpaceX? Well, because he became a millionaire after the first startup, right? Why did he become a millionaire? Because he had an equity on the startup, which became successful. And so now I want to come back to sort of why is it relevant for Nepal? We as a sort of founders, right, we have been very lucky that particularly I would say myself, I went to US, studied there, worked there, had the network, had the people, had the friends to raise funds to build a startup. Not everyone in Nepal have that sort of opportunity. They are not as lucky as I was. And so how can we help like people here who have great ideas to sort of build a unicorn, build a billion-dollar company? So imagine like there are 30 startups all over the world. Imagine we have Nepalese people who are residing here, the fresh graduates who are working on these startups, who have equity on these startups. Imagine few of these companies become successful. They become billion-dollar companies. We want to be one of those. What happens? Well, first, like people who are in Nepal, they will learn how to build a billion-dollar company. Well, they will have equity, so they will become millionaires, right? And amazing thing about startup is people who work on a startup life is very difficult, as I mentioned, right? It requires particular sort of skills like risk-taking, right? Like so work-life balance is pretty weird. It's very challenging environment. So not everyone can work in a startup. But people who work on a startup, right, these want to build things. These guys are builders, they're engineers, right? They are problem solvers. And so imagine like there are people in Nepal who become millionaire because of they work on a startup who were outside Nepal. What do you think these guys will do next? I'll let you have their imaginations.
So I just wanted to add, just give the context. I've worked with Chandan, so he's raised $8 million US in US, and we're discussing about structuring. And then I told him so many things, and which was more on a negative side of legal issues. And he's like, we understand the risk. I still want to be in Nepal. So that was really, despite all of this context and all of these regulatory issues, people are here. They're coming back and they're trying to do something little, outside the box. And I understand if his product is successful, it will change the world, right? So all the best with that.
I just remember one thing that sort of you mentioned, right? So what happens like when startups raise fund in the US and they want to build sort of some kind of team in Nepal, we received an email like last week, right? One of the venture capital fund wants to come to Nepal and see the team that we can build in Nepal, right? That's the first step, right? When US venture funds will come to Nepal and want to see how things are being done here. That's the first step.
Right. So I think I've also been in a lot of deals where Nepalese, people who've graduated in US, they've started both in US and Nepal and done a transaction as a really great valuation. So there are a lot of success stories there in that sense. So I think we probably need to kind of move now in terms of what we've heard. There are a lot of things about entrepreneurs are taking risks. Yes, there are regulatory issues, but lawyers are helping to find the loopholes. And, we believe in this and, we'll take that risk and, all of that context is there. I think in this sense, one of the aspects, I think we talked about growth and growth ambition, right? So I think Prithvi also talked about India, Nepal and that. So I think where is this next growth? I mean, how do entrepreneurs from Nepal, how do they grow? How do they, go big? Probably something you can also touch upon.
Sure. Thank you. Just one example, like I was thinking about it. So there's a company called Cloud Factory. Mark Shears, the founder, who has raised millions of dollars. When he started the company, it was here in Nepal. तर यति लिमिट गरिदियो कि ग्रोथ उहाँले चाहिँ आफ्नो कम्पनी चाहिँ बाहिर गएर सेटअप गर्नुभयो बिकज ही ह्याड द्याट लग्जरी बिकज ही वाज नट अ नेपाली फर पिपल लाइक यु एन्ड आई हु आर अ नेपाली एन्ड हु आर द नेपाली सिटिजन वी आर लिमिटेड नट टु इन्भेस्ट outside, right? So I think one of the reasons why the growth is limited is there, right? So, and then, I just wanted to get into the regulatory aspect of this too. When you think about, when you talk to people from your capital control, kina ta bhanera, हैन? Kina capital control गर्ने भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ the reaction that you get is कि नेपाल इज अ भनरेबल कन्ट्री वारेर पैसा आउँछ वारेर पैसा जान्छ त्यही भएर चाहिँ कन्ट्रोल गर्नुपर्छ नै पैसा बर्बाद हुन्छ पैसै हुँदैन नेपालसँग होइन स्पेसली यो नरेसनलाई चाहिँ अझै बढी कहिले गर्दैन यो श्रीलङ्का र पाकिस्तानमा के भइरहेको थियो यो विथ करेन्ट अकाउन्ट डेफिसिट अर ब्यालेन्स अफ पेमेन्ट इस्युले गरेर चाहिँ त्यो नरेसन छ होइन तर what is also very important to understand कि नेपाल is not neither Sri Lanka nor Pakistan होइन अनि if you look at our like the foreign currency को reserves हरूको हेर्दाखेरि पनि 6 महिनाको रिजर्भ हुँदाखेरि त्यो प्यानिक बटन थिच्न इट्स ओके होइन प्यानिक बटन थिचाउने अब त्यो मोटरसाइकलको इम्पोर्ट लग्जरी आइटम्सको इम्पोर्ट रोकिदिने कि होइन तर we sit on around $13 billion of reserves and around 12 months of equivalent import of goods and services. I think the regulators also need to understand saying this cannot be a one-way road, right? So the growth ko like say outbound hunai parcha, हैन be it outbound ko in the sense कि export gara भन्ने हैन तर त्यो एक्सपोर्ट को लागि त सामान बनाउनु पर्यो नि त र मटेरियल त किन्नु पर्यो नि त र मटेरियल भनेको त बजार पनि खोज्नु पर्यो त्यसको लागि त आउटबाउन्ड अलिअलि लगानी बाहिर त जान्छ like that's what is important and so one is that the second thing so the IT sector ma चाहिँ there is a very good outbound ko चाहिँ opportunity छ and earlier he was saying कि त्यो what I am convinced is कि we have recently invested in manufacturing company right नेपालमा म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ भनेको त्यो जोडजाड मात्रै हो के देयर इज नो म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ त्यो एन्ड टु एन्ड भ्यालु चेन त कनेक्टै हुँदैन इफ यु ट्राई टु इन्भेस्ट इन इफ इट्स अ लार्ज स्केल प्रोडक्सन गर्ने हो भने त्यो र मटेरियलै पुग्दैन यो महिना दिन सक्छु अर्को महिना दिन सक्दिनँ भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ होइन सो त्यो ब्याकवर्ड लिङ्केजेस कसरी गर्ने हो त्यो एक्सपोर्ट भनौँ न प्रडक्टको एक्सपोर्ट गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ त्यसरी पनि सोध्नुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ सो the third growth I think is natural endowment को जुन कुरा छ हाम्रो एनर्जी हो हैन सिमेन्ट हो त्यो चाहिँ जहाँ we have a benefit or non tradable जस्तो टुरिज्म छ त्यहाँ ग्रोथ छ तर as long as चाहिँ त्यो के रे अभिमन्यु चक्रव्यूहको जस्तो चाहिँ भित्र आउन चाहिँ सिकाउने तर बाहिर चाहिँ लग्ने जानै नसिक्ने भने त्यो ग्रोथै आउँदैन
So again to you from your own business and I think we talked about that Prosuma Meats example also. So what does it mean like, the next growth coming in your own business and from your own experiences?
So a lot of these times when we've had conversations and panel discussions like this, I think what we fail to understand is that eventually Nepal is going to face a major food shortage. And food supply and shortage and security is one of the main SDG goals also, and to ensure that we're as close as possible to our production. So internationally, where I see the thing is that anybody who's eaten kauli aloo ko tarkari versus gobi aloo ki sabzi knows that even though the Indian cuisine and the Nepali cuisine is very similar, we are wide apart in the way we cook our food. And also with the way we are producing our food in our part of the world, I think it's also a major contributing factor. The water is a major contributing factor. So what has happened with us, and especially in my business, in my line of business, is that we have realized that more and more people who are going abroad are now looking for food that is manufactured in Nepal. So going back to what Prithvi was saying, त्यो नेपाली खोज्ने कारण पनि रहेछ because स्वादमै फरक छ तपाईको. So if you're drinking a Nepali Aqua 100 को water versus you're drinking maybe Bisleri or Aquafina in India, you'll know there's a difference. And that in itself is a major problem for us. So going back to the question of where growth comes into place for us is that in order for me to get economies of scale, which comes back to the same question about how if I'm going to produce things, for example, I remember traveling to South Korea in 2018. अनि त्यतिखेर एउटा हाम्रो नेपाली डायस्पोरासँग Nepalese Associationसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरि their biggest challenge was that नेपालीहरूले खासमा प्रिमियम बासमती चामल खोज्दैन रहेछ. We look for Jeera Masino अथवा Marsi chawal, which is only manufactured in Nepal. Now, where this becomes a problem is because we need to have it, how do I say, I think त्यो production phase मा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ it has to be done machine made. अब त्यो हाम्रो जबसम्म economies of scale हुँदैन नेपालमा त्यो machine गरेर फाइदै भएन. So जबसम्म हामी यहाँबाट विदेश जाँदैनौँ, that production, that security will not come for us. Now, food is often a very overlooked place when we're talking about it in such organizations because we're not thinking about it. But as a Nepali, I know that most Nepalese who go abroad also have that thing कि जबसम्म एक छाक भात खा हुँदैन त्यो खाएको जस्तो लाग्दैन भनेपछि त्यो त हामी प्याकमा लन्च जस्तो बिजनेसलाई पनि एकदमै एउटा हामीले चाहिँ एउटा अपर्च्युनिटी देखे अब्रड जस्तो कि अमेरिकामा आजकल हामीले सुनेको अनुसार चाहिँ टेक्ससमा काठमाडौँभन्दा पनि बढी तीजको मेला हुँदो रहेछ अनि त्यो हुने बित्तिकै त्यो सबै खोज्ने नै नेपालीहरूको रहेछ सो another vertical that Packma Launch does is that we have a events catering company. So a lot of conversations come around this thing that why would you want to open a branch here? Because we specialize in understanding that after having fed over 1 million meals in the last 10 years, we understand what a Nepali wants to eat. So त्यसको लागि, the only way out for us to bring down our prices at home is to grow internationally.
So I'll just give you the context of why we're talking about growth from a legal perspective, right? So we have a law in Nepal which restricts Nepalese citizens to invest outside. So they can't open any bank account outside, they cannot open any companies outside. And this law is more than 60 years old. So we've not really, this again problem is about, we've not really have that habit of re-looking at the past and see, does that really work? We don't see, things every 5 years periodically, we don't kind of review it. So what is it preventing is, let's say, Bharat Singh beer, for example, right? So they've done quite good in Nepalese context. So if, Corona beer can come from Mexico, why can't Bharat Singh go and establish their operation anywhere? For example, India probably is a really great market. We have similar taste in a similar, geographic area. So I think from a regulatory context, this has been a really big problem. And when we add this in the IT sector, and the IT sector is even chronic because, in a service, it's almost like a borderless. And in IT sector, the whole issue is about, do I do product, do I do services, right? Nepal currently in IT sector is a cost center. We just work on a cost plus margin basis. Intellectual property is in the US. I think that's what we'll probably need to change because, local entrepreneurs, local IT guys should be able to go and establish companies in US. What does that allow them is, wrap their copyright under a really good protection system, raise funds outside because I don't think any US investors are freely willing in terms of investing compared to when they have a choice between jurisdiction of investing in Nepal and US. Definitely fundraising in US is going to be a lot more. When we do our due diligence for our US clients, they have so many issues, so many red flags in terms of really coming and operating and investing in Nepal. So I think this law, from a regulatory context of really going out this is one particular issue that we really need to kind of address from a growth context. So just from law point of view.
I'd like
yes.
to add something on this. So I forgot to mention, I know we spoke about Prasuma.
Yes.
So last year we had gone to India for another business. There's an annual trade show called Ahar. And when we'd gone there, it's for a hospitality industry. The one thing that we saw is that Prasuma, I don't know if any of you remember that, Prasuma meat पहिला एकदमै थियो हाम्रो processed meat मा एकदमै चलेको नाम थियो. So when I went to India, what I saw was that every major departmental store, there's one called Nature's Basket, which is actually a gourmet grocery store, which is in the most poshest of places. So assuming that this is in Juhu, which is where all the Bollywood stars live, and they come and shop at Nature's Basket, Prasuma meat was what was going there. So apparently during COVID, I think they increased production and they I think they increased their turnover to 500 crores in I think a 2 years time during COVID. So imagine being able to do that there and bringing back all the knowledge that you can get, whether it's in machinery or production, and then bringing it back home and still allowing Nepalese people to have the same product but at cheaper rates simply because you can get economies of scale in India and then bring it back home. So I thought that was a great idea.
Yes, I think that was, and I think Swapna, we were also discussing in terms of really going out, growth, limitation. You had given an example of PhonePe. It took them 20 years or
Yeah, so, there are, if you look at, so-called successful startups too, right? So, be it PhonePe, Foodmandu, or any other. So, they're more than 10 years old. They're teenagers now. So, Nepalma urkina time लाग्छ, right? So, Nepalma urkina time. So, if you let them go outside, they will grow fast. And एउटा त्यो कुरा भयो अनि अर्को कुरा what I want to point it out is if the regulation will not allow Nepali companies to go outside, then the entrepreneur will go, especially the digital entrepreneurs, right? Places like Singapore, Dubai are giving golden visas, right? Or Europe countries. So software logna धेरै time लाग्दैन. So I think for Nepal's benefit, त्यो बाहिर चाहिँ इम्पोर्ट भनेको बाहिर चाहिँ अफिस खोल्न या इन्भेस्ट गर्न चाहिँ दिनुपर्छ. Another one point, म एक्जाम्पल एउटा लास्ट एक्जाम्पल दिइहाल्छु क्विकली. आई लुक एट किन दिँदैन भन्ने कुरामा चाहिँ अर्को चाहिँ मैले पाकिस्तानलाई पनि हेरेँ कि पाकिस्तानको एट वान टाइम पाकिस्तानको चाहिँ फरेन करेन्सी रिजर्भ चाहिँ हामीभन्दा सानो थियो, बिङ द हामीभन्दा ठुलो नेसन होइन. पाकिस्तानले पनि इमरान खान प्राइम मिनिस्टर हुँदाखेरि वर्षको एउटा स्टार्टअपलाई $50,000 चाहिँ बाहिर इन्भेस्ट गर्न दिन्छु भनेको छ कि. Because they understand the value. So why I don't understand why we are not understanding the value of that.
I think there's no reason we're just caging our entrepreneurs. That's what I feel. And from an economic side of things, if you allow them to invest, the dividend is coming back here. If you don't allow them, I don't know where dividend goes. It goes somewhere else, not here. I think that's one important context to take home from a regulatory context. I just want to now shift to another point we've been discussing about really incentive-driven workforce and demographic dividend, I think more relevant to your business. So how do you see, what are your issues really, day-to-day dealing with the business? Because I think you're dependent on, chefs and other people. So just how the context you're dealing with.
So, हाम्रो demographic dividend मा त के देखाएको छ भने earlier there was an exodus of blue collar jobs going abroad. अब चाहिँ we are seeing that a lot of white collar jobs are going. There's a little joke that goes around in our company is that I think we have about 4 or 5 people from Pack My Lunch who are now in Canada, all in Vancouver, so they have a mini meetup. Every time we have a meetup here, they have a meetup there. What has happened is that the mid-management level is leaving, which means that every time they leave, the entrepreneurs have to go back to the day-to-day businesses, managing everything on a regular basis, which does not allow us to focus on the bigger picture, whether it's strategizing, whether it's doing anything that may help grow the business exponentially. Similarly, coming back to the incentive case that you spoke about, हाम्रो इन्सेन्टिभ अब नेपालको ल अनुसार त त्यो 13th month हामीले फेस्टिभल बोनस दिनै पर्छ, and that is not directly linked to your performance. So it means that whether or not you're performing well in the company, it is a said how do I say this, it's a said एउटा हकले नै मान्छेले माग्छ. अब हाम्रो इन्डस्ट्रीमा चाहिँ ब्लू कलर जब्स बढी हुन्छ. सो अब फेस्टिभल भन्दा दसैँ ठुलो हुन्छ, सो दसैँमा लिएर जान्छ, घर जान्छ, फिर्तै आउँदैन तिनीहरू. त्यो सँगसँगै अर्को कुरा के हुन्छ भने अब जस्तो हामीले स्ट्र्याटेजाइज गरेर ल केपीआई दिउँ, त्यो केपीआई अनुसार उनीहरूलाई इन्सेन्टिभ दिउँ भन्दाखेरि त्यो हामीलाई त्यस्तो लिगली चाहिँ जानु मिल्दैन, बिकज अगेन वी हेभ टु सेयर प्रफिट्स विथ देम. सो प्रफिट सेयर गर्यो, 13 month स्यालेरी दियो, यो इन्सेन्टिभ जहाँ खासै प्रोडक्टिभिटी ल्याउने कुराहरूमा चाहिँ आउँदै आएन कि हामीलाई. अनि डेमोग्राफिक्समा पनि अर्को कुरा हामीले के नोटिस गर्यो भने internal migration पनि गर्नु पाए भने चाहिँ झनै सजिलो हुन्थ्यो, because there are so many, हामीले पनि एकदमै unskilled levelमै जान्छौँ, whereas we even start with housekeeping, dishwashing and all that doesn't require that much knowledge and skill. So when it comes to giving them incentives, there's nothing that is setting them apart because that skill is not being utilized properly के त. So हाम्रो demographic dividends मा अर्को हामीले issue के देखाएको छ भने Nepal is a hospital. We really bank on tourism, and we hope that this is what is going to bring us a lot of income. But we're not doing enough to keep people back here, which means that anyone in the service industry then has the same problem, whether it's a big hotel or because of course we're not competitive in terms of salaries, and I can't expect anybody to stay back. त्यो देशको लोभ मलाई कहाँबाट यो प्रब्लम देख्यो भने हाम्रै कतिजनासँग कुरा गर्दा दे आर सेइङ दैट म्याम दुईजनाको इन्कम भयो भने एकजनाको इन्कम इज ओन्ली इनफ टु एजुकेट द पर्सन, बिकज अफ कोर्स वी आर नट प्रोभाइडिङ द्याट इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरल इस्युजहरू बढी आएर things like no access to running water and things like that. So I understand where people are feeling the need to leave the country, but what we're also noticing is that, अनि यो चाहिँ मेरो पर्सनल अनुभवबाट चाहिँ बाहिर विदेश पहिला जाने मान्छेहरू चाहिँ they like the blue collar jobs, they didn't have a future, so they came back. अब चाहिँ if you're going for white collar jobs, you're going to get families. Nepalese are not returning back. So does that mean as an entrepreneur, where do I find, that mid-level management? Because bankers are going to work in restaurants now. So how do we, get that level playing field for us?
Right. So I think it's an issue that while we think our asset is young population and literate population, actually when you look at the business, it's not that true. So, for example, in my own legal service, with the headcount that I have, we have 40 lawyers. So it's not been a problem now, but if I have to hire 100 lawyers, definitely going to be a problem. So I was talking with some IT guys, and in India, in 2 days, they recruited 1,000 people for a call center. It's not going to happen in Nepal. If you want to recruit 500 people in Nepal in IT sectors, that's going to be really tough, because I think the market is like this. So I think that demographic dividend probably is a myth in terms of when you talk about entrepreneurship, and the turnover in your business, the safes coming in and leaving in 3 months, really problematic for you to really plan and growth in that context. So I think we have about 21 minutes. Probably we should go to the floor. And the idea is, I think it's more than questions. I think I just would be really nice to hear your experience, thought process. The Project Sambad is more like, let's have a discussion, and we all have been, experiences with that, and we have friends from NYEF as well today, so really great to hear your perspective as well, so I'll open the floor for discussion.
Thank you for tuning into Project Sambad. If you found the conversation insightful and crave more lively interaction from the audience, hop on over to Policy Entrepreneurs on YouTube for the complete live broadcast. To sound out your thoughts and reflections, join the conversation on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Project Sambad.